service business, relationships are what's important, nothing else. Computer equipment can go, talent comes and goes. It's the relationship with the actual client. So what type of relationship are you looking for? If it's long term, if it's service based, is it collaborative? You have to define it and then pursue it. If you're looking for a relationship that's collaborative, that means you have to be in contact with them. You're thinking about them. You send them.
Welcome to the New World Podcast, where we delve into the ever changing and accelerating pace of global change and its impact on our lives. I'm your host, John Paul Flores, broadcasting live from the New World Studio. Today, we're diving into the world of AI and automation. As an enthusiast and expert in lead generation, I will guide you through understanding and leveraging these technologies for your business and for your personal use. And don't forget, AI and automation might be unstoppable forces, but that doesn't mean you are powerless. Tune in to learn how to make them work for you and not the other way around. But first, let's meet our guest. Welcome to the New World Podcast, where we navigate the changing world around us. I'm your host, John Paul Flores, specializing in lead generation and AI automation, here to help you understand how our world is changing and what it means for you. And today we have a special guest joining us, someone who brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the table. He's a marketing maven and digital media strategist with a deep focus on marketing ROI. He is the marketing guy. He's the owner of CGT Marketing LLC and a seasoned educator at several esteemed universities, including Hofstra University and Long Island University. Some people can teach, some people can execute, but it's rare to see someone like Mitch who can do both. With over 15 years of the helm of CGT Marketing and over 3 decades of teaching experience, he's dedicated to transforming businesses through intelligent marketing and cost-efficient tactics. Please give a warm welcome to Mitch.
Thank you very much, John. That was a long intro.
Told you.
Yeah,
By the way, how do you pronounce your last name?
it's a Tobol.
Tobol.
Mhm.
Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Mitch Tobol.
Thank you.
I do have a lot of questions, in-depth questions,
Sure.
but before we continue on those, can you share with us who Mitch is? What's your expertise, your experiences, and what keeps you busy these days?
Wow. Um, who am I? Well, I'm a guy who loves barbecue. Uh, no, I love marketing. I love marketing challenges. My whole staff, my team here that I employ, we love marketing challenges. And there's never been more exciting in marketing situation than there is right now with the advent of AI. And I don't know, what do you think? About 4 or 5,000 new apps introduced every week, promising to do the world. And, you have to approach it with a bit of caution. But it's exciting. It's overwhelming. It stinks. It's great all at the same time. But, I guess I'm a guy that's really focused on my client's business. I care about my client's business. I want them to succeed. So it doesn't matter to me what service. I don't know. I sell about 25, 26 different services here. I don't really care what service I provide. It's got to be the right one. And sometimes I don't provide it. Like, we don't do public relations. We do some as part of a package, but not strictly public relations. I'll refer them to a couple of people I know because it's important for them to do the right thing, do the right activities, have the right strategy in place in order to be successful.
That's amazing. And by the way, do you guys still do, traditional marketing, flyers,
Oh
advertising through
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
billboards?
yeah. I think we're roughly about 80% digital now. But we still produce catalogs, print ads, brochures, flyers, business cards. There's still a need for that. There's still a need for the printed material. I think there will be for a while, but I mean, it's changed dramatically over the past 10 years where print runs used to be 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Now it's 100, 500. Just print me 10. Really? You know, yeah, okay. We prepare files for them to print out on their printers in their offices. So, we have to compensate for that.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast things are changing right now. I mean, 2 years ago, there's no Chat GPT, and when they released it, like everyone instantly, joined in. Huh? This is AI. And yeah, it's crazy how things and how many apps are being developed real time right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, were you first a teacher, an educator, or a marketing guy?
No, marketing guy first. I guess my reputation preceded me, and the people at Hofstra University asked me to teach. Actually, I taught at Long Island University first. I was asked to teach there. They heard about me, and I taught a course. Um, and then Hofstra heard about me, asked me to join in, and I taught at St. John's for a couple lectures, and hearing about your name gets known, right? Marketing, hello, and people call you and ask you to speak because you have something they want to hear, you want to talk about. So I find it absolutely fascinating.
That's amazing. And can you share with us your journey into the world of marketing? Because not everyone wants, when they're a kid, they doesn't just dream, I want to be a marketer. What lead to that?
Yeah. So I didn't start out that way. In my undergraduate work, I actually have a bachelor's in graphic design. And during the summers, I worked as an apprentice at a printer. And I started looking at the stuff that was coming in for myself and the people that worked there to print. And I said, who's making these decisions? So I started my journey. It was curiosity about where those decisions were made, why were they made, and why does it look like the way it does? So in college, I actually minored in marketing. I started taking marketing courses, and I found out uh, I loved it. It was fascinating to me, strategy, tactics, everything about it. Everything I learned, I soaked up because I enjoyed it. Yeah.
And you said you have over 25 different services. Which one of those, keeps you at night, really makes you excited?
The ones that are working for the client. It's how can I put this? There's a lot of my colleagues that have a one size fits all. They have a square peg and they push everybody through it. They have a process. They promise the world leads or this, or we're disrupting the industry or something, great. And when in fact they have one process, it works about 20% of the time, and it's really played to maximize profits. I take the other side of the coin. I look at it from a different perspective. I look at it and say, what does this business need to succeed based on the culture in the business? What I found is that the culture in every business determines whether marketing is going to be successful. If the culture is open, marketing is valued, it's welcomed, it wants to be collaborative, then marketing will be successful. Every time I've seen this. If the culture is like, yeah, just do it and get it done, it's not going to be as good because marketing, in essence, is a collaboration of all the business, the goals, the sales staff. When we take on a client, we interview key people within the company that are customer facing. We interview key staff, generally the management, and we form a report. What is this company's perception of who they are and how they talk about it, what words they use. Then we go out, we actually interview a random selection of clients, anywhere from 10 to 15. And we understand, I have a special tool for that. We understand what their perception is, not only the client, but of the industry and the types of services. And then we find out where the mismatch is, because there's always a mismatch. And that mismatch is a gap in how the company's communicating or presenting itself. So that's purely high level strategy, directional. then it becomes, okay, what do we say that is more strategic? How are we going to say it? And then what tools are we going to use to communicate it? And it could be creating TikTok if that's where the audience is. I don't care what we use. I've been immersed in social media since 2002, 2003. And it's great. I love all the channels. We look at them, and I don't care which one we use. I care that they're reaching the target market for the business. That's what's most important to me.
That's amazing. And so it's safe to say that the culture determines the rate of success of marketing for a company.
Yeah, it has a direct relation to it. That's one of the things I'm sort of working on the side is defining the culture of a company in specific criteria, measurable criteria that I could say, okay, your marketing is going to stink. Don't bother spending it. You could send me on a trip around the world, and I'll send a postcard from you everywhere I go. It's a better use of your money. Because the budgets for marketing, it could be a rabbit hole. You could just continually pour money, and a lot of people do, and it's a shame because they're not getting good advice, or they have perceptions that this is what they need to do because a competitor is doing it, or because their nephew or uncle or their close friend told them you should be doing this, and not necessarily the best advice. Sometimes it is.
So industry determines more on the what types of strategy we should use.
hmm Well, strategy is based on several factors, but strategy is where you want to go, right? Figuring out, in my mind, strategy leads to messaging. How you want to approach the target market. Then there's planning, which is more tactical. How we're actually going to get there. Well, we're going to use. So most companies don't have it, but if you develop a comprehensive digital footprint that surrounds a target market, right? If it involves SEO, YouTube videos, Facebook, LinkedIn, or is it just emails? Is it PR? Is it events? Is it a speaking? There's so many things you can do in marketing now. Is it developing an AI app? Is it using AI in the process? You know, uh, we've actually inserted AI into a client's content generation process, with red flags and caution flags, because, everything coming out of AI, I consider a dirty draft. Um, it has to be edited for tone, for quality, so it sounds like a human wrote it. I mean, we've been using AI for, I don't know, year and a half now. So we can spot AI copy from a mile away. So, they're always using the same terms in it. You have to edit those out. You have to make it human, and it's got to be in the tone of voice of the brand.
That's one thing that I like about marketing at the industry as a whole. Because if you just break down marketing, the main objective of it is to stand out. So in the future, even if AI gets so smart that they take over 90% of the marketing, the ones that are on top are still the people that are genuinely creative. You know, unlike salespeople, where 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you just need to be trustworthy, wear nice clothes, answer the right questions, you get a sale.
Mhm.
Same thing today. But what works in marketing 10 years ago did not work 20 years ago, and the thing that worked 20 years ago definitely will not work today.
Right, right. I think that, yeah, I think you're right on point. It's very important that all communication coming from a company carries the same message and the same voice. And it could change per target market. You know, the voice you need to talk into is the voice that a target market will and what you're saying. So there's a whole section we can get into, which is content marketing, which is creating high value content, which is essentially draws people to your message and begins the sales funnel, right? So people want to sell themselves now. Your website has to do a heavy lift. You have to have all the information there that someone can actually sell themselves on you in whatever stage of the funnel they're in. You can accentuate that, you can accelerate that, but you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of the stages and what stages, what information people want. So it's an integral process, understanding the buyer's journey, their reasons, their drivers for even looking for what you're selling. Why? What problems are you solving? Are you a pain pill or are you a vitamin? Right now, vitamins are not selling well, but pain pills are. People want to get rid of the pain that they have. So, it's I'm kind of all over the place, but it's everything gets discussed in marketing. We do free flowing conversations here to really hash out issues and problems, to figure out where the problems are, where the gaps are, and then apply our knowledge and what we know to work or not work to each individual situation.
Do you see a lot more companies gearing towards personal brand nowadays?
So companies aren't, but individuals are. The people I teach at Hofstra are entrepreneurs, and they're starting businesses, right? So it's the first decision is, you're going to be a solopreneur or an entrepreneur. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. Solopreneurs, they're creating a job for themselves. Entrepreneur means they're creating a scalable business. So in the solopreneur, more than the entrepreneur, a personal brand is real important. And if you're a salesperson, we can talk about social selling or how sales integrates with marketing. Each salesperson needs their personal brand, their digital personal brand, right? So that's important.
Is that the case where, people trust less nowadays? That's why you need a personal brand if you're gonna be a great salesperson.
Yeah, talk about trust. I mean, gosh, with AI and misinformation, this election cycle is going to be crazy because it's already started, all the disinformation, the bad actors that are nefariously using AI, which I hate, but it's out there. So you have to be a smart consumer. So people are less trustworthy. That's why there's a whole discipline of social proof, developing social proof for all your communications, whether it's at website, email, social media, it doesn't matter. You involve social proof. Social proof has many different patterns to it. It could be an award given to the service business in your area. It could be testimonials, video is preferable, actually.
Yeah.
Even as little as the Better Business Bureau here in the United States, that's a piece of social proof, right? So, yeah, that people
You
are
know,
less trusting of brands these days.
a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, written testimonials are the blast. They're amazing. But nowadays, when you scroll down, you see these testimonials. Who cares? What's in right now really is video testimonial, since you can fake the words, but you can't fake the emotion of the person recording that.
Yeah, it's true. It's I have a little story because I love stories. Um, a food establishment in Brooklyn gave me a call. He got referred to me or something. He says, I don't know what happened. Sales dropped off, 2 months ago like a rock. He says, I was
Ooh.
rocking it. Now I'm not. I got referred to. Can you help me? I said, I don't know. Let me come down there. So I went down there, bought me a cup of coffee, which was pretty good coffee, by the way. And while I'm sitting there, I said, what happened? What happened to facilitate the change? Something had to happen. So while I'm sitting there, I look on Yelp, and he's got a horrible review, absolute horrible review. So I turned to my phone. I said, look, he says, I know that guy. I said, how do you know him? He said, he eats here. Still? Yes, he still eats here. So I said, well, now you have an opportunity, because getting testimonials off the Yelp is practically impossible. And responding to them is really critical, which I can get into, the nervousness, the fear of having bad reviews on social. So he went to, I gave him a strategy, and he went to the guys, because he got food delivered from him. He went there and he held the food in his hand. He goes, I understand you gave us a bad review, and don't give him the food until he agrees to take the bad review down. Then give it to him. give him a meal. It's worth every penny you have. And he did, and he found sales went back, sales went back up. So one bad review can kill you. You know, he didn't, especially in the food business, he didn't respond to it, which leads me to the whole fear component that clients have when we initiate social media for a client. They go, "Well, what about bad reviews? Oh my gosh!" I said, "Bring them on." I go, "What are you talking about?" Look, humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. Businesses, we make mistakes. But how we respond defines the character of who we are and our business. So by responding to every bad review, you have an opportunity to for people to see what type of character your business is. So that's how we treat that. And
Now, I read, sorry, I forgot who posted it, but basically it says, a 4.7 review is much better than a 5-star review.
um, well, uh, maybe if you have 5 stars and you have thousands of them,
Looks fake.
well, it could, unless you're a big company with a lot of customers. I've seen people advertise they are. I mean, they say we have over 1,000 5-star reviews. They don't tell you they do have 4-star reviews. Because what's I find fascinating, and I don't have stats to bear this out, but I think people do this, is they'll see the star rating and they'll click on 1 star to see what bad happened. They want to see what bad happened in the business, right? And I think that's why you're reciting that quote to me. 4.7 is better than 5 because 4.7 could sound realistic, right?
Yeah. And back to the topic on the restaurant owner, is that just one bad review?
Well, so he was away on vacation when that happened. So he found that some of his staff were not serving people the way they should be, right? So he had to take steps to alleviate that from a operational standpoint. His business fell off because of that review, and also the operations fell off. When he was gone, the person left, management did not manage it correctly. So, there's an operations issue which marketing can't solve, but certainly marketing can point it out. That's why marketing has to be a collaborative uh, uh, endeavor, part of a business, from my point of view.
And back to the point where you basically says you genuinely ask questions to see if you can help a business. And I think on that point, it's just like the old snake oil salesman versus the doctor. You know, as the snake oil salesman promises you the world. It can fix your face that got bashed by a rock. Can fix all of the broken bones in your body, but it doesn't. Maybe it works 20% of the time, just like you said. But a doctor genuinely asks what's wrong with you. Even ask your parents if you're going to the doctor with them or with your spouse. What's wrong with him? Have you seen this sign? And yeah, actually does help to be kind of a doctor in your marketing or in your sales goal nowadays.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. It's interesting because marketers, the drive or the pressure on marketing people are to have specific transactional results now. Everything's measurable. When a doctor, there is no accountability really. They're making their best guess. And a lawyer is practicing law. I never, a lawyer charging $500 an hour and they're practicing. Well, if you're practicing, how about you should pay me. Yeah.
Give me a break.
Right.
Amazing. And by the way, how have you seen the marketing landscape evolve from when you first started to the present days? Because, I believe not until a few years ago, traditional marketing is still very powerful, and not a lot of people who are just starting out, starting a business, wants to immediately jump on the wagon of, hey, we need to do this digital marketing thing.
So it's changed dramatically. Look, the basic components of marketing are the same. years ago to today is understanding your target market as intimately as possible, understanding how they feel, think, and react to messages, and then creating a message that they will react. How that message gets delivered has changed dramatically, and how the creation of that message is, in fact, changing right now because of AI. So, how we deliver the message, now we have what? I can't even count the number of outlets we have to get a message out there in different formats. Just look at Facebook, standard videos, reels, sponsored, pre-roll, mid-roll.
Yeah.
You have all these opportunities. So the basic components have not, in my mind, have not changed. It's all the tactical components have, and the impact of AI on the creation of those tactical components.
And how do you see, people have way shorter attention span right now than before, and it's getting way shorter day by day. How do you see that affects marketing?
Well, I have a client that sent me a video, and it's 3 minutes long, and I called him up. I said, "No one's watching this." Yeah, but I said, "Nobody is watching this." There's like a cliff after 3 seconds. You have to hook them within the first 1 or 2 seconds with something visually stimulating, audio stimulating. Many people actually flip through their phones and watch videos without the sound. So obviously everything gets captioned, but you have to have something visually stimulating within the first couple of seconds for them to continue to watch. Something high value, stimulating. Yeah, the whole thing. It's amazing.
That's awesome. And yeah, one thing that I did see is that in digital marketing right now, you don't have to be well rounded. Sometimes you just need to be so big on one platform that that's the main source of income or audience that you have. I mean, some people have 200,000 on their Instagram and basically not even 1,000 on their Facebook.
Right. So now I think you're referencing influencers or no?
Yeah, and some companies as well.
Right. So we find that that's the case with our clients as well, because we focus our efforts on the social media, in particular, you're talking about on the social media that their target market is looking to. So you don't want to, like, if you're talking to a bunch of boomers, you're not going to really be on TikTok, although they do look at TikTok. TikTok requires a concerted effort, concerted video effort, which a lot of companies don't have that skill internally. But yeah, Instagram is a younger medium. X is a swamp, or Twitter. It's become a swamp. Right now, we're back on for the first time in probably 3 years on Twitter,
Oh,
testing a client's brand message and seeing if we can generate some interest, some brand awareness, interest, and engagement on actual Twitter. Check with me in a couple of weeks. I'll let you know.
and by the way, what is the benefit of teaching while you're doing marketing?
Well, first, I enjoy it. I actually I enjoy teaching, right? I get the rewards I get is turning light bulbs on. But there's also something that I tell all the students is that I'm learning as well. And I always have a pad by I'm teaching on Zoom all the time now. I have a pad by my computer because as I'm teaching, it's creating ideas when I'm verbalizing a certain concept, or, talking about a genuine brand. I'm getting ideas and I'm writing it down. So not only am I teaching and turning light bulbs on, hopefully, is that I'm learning as well. So, yeah, it happens kind of both ways.
Yeah, I see that. That's amazing. And yeah, I think the same thing is, when you're reading a script, especially when you're reading the questions that you have prepared for the podcast, I have read it like 10 times, if not 20, and you just rewrite some things, some portions the other way once you read the whole thing. And now you read it again and you now make another change, which is just keeps
Right.
making it better and better.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good editing practice. what I teach is that, look, write, if you want to write something, that's what we do here. We write something, whether it's AI generated, we edit it, we put it aside, then we come back to it with fresh eyes and look at it, because you can get lost in the words. You go back to something time and time again and edit, edit, edit. You'll have something that's really good. So it's a great process. What you're doing, I think it's a great process. Yeah.
Thank you. And do you also teach your students how to basically sell themselves?
Yeah, we do a class on selling, which is fascinating because everybody gets very uptight about it. They think they have to, sell ice to Eskimos in the winter. And really, selling is about being yourself. Um, I teach a pretty simple process I call baseball selling baseball. But, a true salesperson is a consultant who helps customers identify and solve problems. That's it. If you can't solve their problem, then don't sell them.
Yeah, I can't imagine a doctor just going and having a bind book. Hey, here's my services. Maybe this one works better for you. Yeah, no, this one works better for you. And yeah, what you said, you need to be a consultant. You need to understand who they are and what their problems is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And how do you integrate, real world problems in marketing that you see every day in your business to your curriculums?
I bring stories. I love stories, and people love stories. So when I teach, I tell stories that happened that day, that week with clients. I relate stories from clients to whatever topic I'm teaching. So I try to make it real, not just give them a theory and say, God bless you, see you around, but here's how it affected one of my clients. Here's what we did to affect change, right? So that seems to work.
A better teacher, the best kind of teacher is a teacher like you who actually, brings experiences in the classroom and not just theories. And yeah, if you're just saying theories, it's exhausting.
Mm. Well, it's funny. Theory has its place, right? There's no question. Theory has its
Yep.
place because it's
Absolutely.
important to get the concept across. But if a student can't relate the theory to real world, then you've lost them. They're not going to make the connection. Theory is great, but if it can't be translated into actionable steps or real world circumstances, as I said before, then it's kind of lost, in my opinion. Anyway.
So basically, theory makes practice, and practice makes the theory even better, and the theory next to that just makes it better and better again.
Yeah, I think so. Marketing really hasn't had any theoretical shifts, and from what I can see, it's really been tactical. There are a bunch of people that are new to marketing that are saying, wow, you should create a brand. This is new and exciting. Not really. It's been around for a while. I mean, there are some excellent books written in the 60s and 70s that are still relevant today from a branding standpoint, because the tenets, the strategies, the underlying fundamental theories and concepts are still the same. You have a group of people you want to sell to or expose the company to or get them to respond, but you need to know what they think of your stuff or other people's stuff like yours, and you need to supply them with stuff so they can engage and respond. We live in a world that everybody expects immediate results, right? Click
Hmm.
and go. We humans have a much shorter attention span. We're down to, I think, 6 seconds now. Actually,
Ooh.
I read a little something that said goldfish have a longer attention span than humans, which I find fascinating. Who's studying that? But so the basic components to me are still the same. It's just tactical. How you're going to go about it, and because everybody self-serves now, sales has pushes down the funnel. So marketing is a heavy lift of getting awareness, engagement, and desire, or interest rather, desire and action are taken over by sales. So there's an integration in there, and it depends on the culture of the company, the target market. what they're selling, that type of thing.
That's amazing. And any book recommendations, since you said the theories from the 60s still works now? Do you have any book recommendations where, maybe older books?
There is an old book written by Al Reese and Jack Trout called Positioning. Um, and it's a fascinating look into the concept of branding. Um, that would be that's a classic in my mind. That's worthwhile taking a read. It's a pretty quick read.
It's amazing. And yeah, that's a book that I will be reading. And considering AI's capability in performing tasks, I mean, some AI right now can do SEO optimization.
Hmm.
Some even can do video editing. Some can do copy, write newsletter, or even ads to creating whole websites, which is amazing. How would you differentiate your services to remain indispensable and provide a unique value to your clients?
Mm. Good question, John. I think I'm gonna couch it this way. Those that are using AI strictly to generate web pages and SEO without the human touch are really hurting themselves and not really looking at the big picture. They may get some short-term results, but in the long run, I think it'll kind of hurt them. Because I think creative people or strategically thinking people with experience in marketing, even those without experience but think strategically, are always going to be needed. Even though a lot of marketing services appear to be commoditized, I understand that, and that's okay. But I still don't think that the human being is going to be out of the equation. Matter of fact, the human being needs to be in the equation. AI can create a website. Let's say they create a landing page. Well, who's writing the copy? AI. So what happens is there's this concept that I read, I think 2 weeks ago. I forget the article about backlash. I don't know if you heard of it, or backwash, excuse me, where people are using content, websites, content from AI and publishing it. Now, what happens is when you publish it on the internet, AI is capturing that information as well. So now it's taking the information it gave, you're publishing it, it's reading and ingesting it again, then re-giving it to someone else who wants it. So they call that backwash. It's kind of a
Huh.
watering down of content and information. So in my opinion, humans are a critical piece of the equation. AI can give you ideas. You know what AI is great for, and we've used it as a
Yeah,
start you
they're
on the
amazing at that.
process. Hey, generate some headlines for this, and it gets you thinking. But don't take them point blank. Use your brain. We all have beautiful things between our ears, man. We have to use them because we're talking to humans. We're not talking to robots. So it's very important that humans are part of in my opinion, I don't think humans will ever be out of the equation. I think there are some menial tasks in society and some things that AI, and by the way, AI is all around us already. When Netflix recommends something to you, that's an AI program. Google's been using AI for years in their algorithms to get websites listed higher or not listed higher. We have now AI that is self-driving. They're trying to perfect that, and probably within the next 5 years, it'll be good enough where it won't kill people. Hopefully.
Yeah, I
So,
saw a video where the Tesla basically just turned left and there's a oncoming traffic. And yeah, it's scary. And yeah, on your part on AI basically getting trained on their own generated content, yeah, they're gonna be less human day by day. And yeah, on your part on generating ideas, I think AI gives you, a push. Hey, here's where you need to go, make it even better.
mhm. yeah. It starts.
Hey there, thank you for listening on the New World Podcast. If you're enjoying the way I ask questions and insights we're uncovering here on the New World Podcast, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode. And hey, if you're ready to learn more about lead generation and automation, which are the two of my expertise, I offer coaching services tailored to your needs. Plus, for a select number of people every month, the consultations are free for the first time. So, hey, if you're ready, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll have it here. And also, let's work together to unlock your full potential. And let's get back to the show. Hey there, thank you for
Off, right? And it does make the process more efficient. I could tell you that it makes it faster. But without a human interaction, it's in my mind, it doesn't help the brand in the long run. Maybe in the short run it might, but in the long run it doesn't. It just becomes watered down. Yeah.
and some part of AI I actually do pretty like. Yeah, just like when chatting with someone on their customer service, sometimes it just feels better when you're just typing, "Here's my problem. Please give me a fix on that. I don't want to act nice." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I've used it when I've had a very difficult email I had to send to somebody, and I'm sitting there and I was lost as how to start it. I asked AI, hey, this is my problem. Write an email. It did. It was it wasn't good, but it got me started thinking. I mean, I totally rewrote it. I didn't use it as is, but it got me, unstuck. Right? It gave me ideas. So I think it's good for that right now.
In your decades of experience in marketing, if I'm not mistaken, 3 decades, some even 40, even 40 years, which platforms or software or basically anything you saw made the biggest change in marketing? We can choose one.
Um, I can only choose one.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'd have to say it was for production, print materials, Cork Express, which is not really in use. It's kind of been designed now. And for websites to be developed by people that matter, I would say probably Dreamweaver or BB Edit. Those were path creators for making things more efficient. One for the internet, one for print, and then eventually they combined. So,
It's amazing. And let's say somebody wants to start being a marketer. Let's say they're 15 years old, just saw marketing and they see it's pretty awesome.
mhm.
Would you advise them to, hey, read this book or do that or do this or go work a job in marketing first before starting your own?
um, yeah, I would be a voracious reader. Read from some of the pundits in our age, Seth Godin, or Godin, however he pronounces it. Is one in particular that pops in the top of my head. There are many authors now because writing a book is a piece of cake. You can get 5 printed if you wanted. It's amazing. And they're all downloadable anyway. I would work for another company to get experience in the field rather than start your own marketing agency. Although people haven't been successful, I'm not saying not to, but working for another similar firm gives you a leg up. You'll see the operation, you'll see what to do or not to do. You'll learn some things that if you go on your own, you're going to learn by making mistakes, which is neither good nor bad. It just is. So by working for someone, it'll take a lot of the mistakes out of starting your own thing, in my opinion.
So basically, you will have the opportunity to learn from a mentor.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
And let's say you just started your own marketing agency. You're a new in the field. Maybe you have experience before, maybe you don't. If they're trying to find a perfect target business to offer their services, who would likely they be? How broad or how specific should they be in their outreaches to businesses?
So I think it goes back to that person's personal experience. I would ask them, what have you done in your life? If they're new to marketing, so I got to assume they're in their early 20s. Yeah. Um, what experience have you had? Why are you drawn to the field? What creates excitement for you? Because there are many different target markets. I mean, you have the small business, the small retail business, the local pizzeria, Chinese food. There are tons of them. And, there are people who have designed their business specifically for them, low cost marketing alternatives that they should be using that they're not. If you're looking for a higher reach, then you need to provide a more suite of service, bigger suite of services, and be more strategic about it. So it's a tough question to ask because to answer, because it's based on a lot of factors. And I would start with the person themselves. What turns them on? What businesses turn them on? What businesses they feel aligned with? They're most likely going to make some great marketing decisions for those businesses because they like them and they're familiar with them.
And that's, yeah, my question is a bit hard to answer, but thank you for the great answer. And one of the biggest things that I think most people who are just starting in business often overlook is that the importance of client relationship. What strategies would you use to build and maintain a strong relationship with your clients?
So, in a service business, relationships are what's important, nothing else. Computer equipment come and go, talent comes and goes. It's the relationship with the actual client. So, what type of relationship are you looking for? If it's long term, if it's service based, is it collaborative? You have to define it and then pursue it. If you're looking for a relationship that's collaborative, that means you have to be in contact with them. You're thinking about them. You send them information. You send them ideas. You get ideas from them. If it's transactional, then you don't need a relationship. You just have to make sure the customer interface when they go online to buy your stuff is as simple as humanly possible. We have 4 words when we make a website. Don't make me think. I forget who said that. There's a website guy. He wrote a book about that. I forgive if he watches this. Forgive me. I don't remember your name off the top of my head. But that's essentially the strategy we take, because if it's like Amazon is so successful because they're constantly trying to improve the UX to make it so simple to order. You just go back there and order because it's so easy. And if you're transactional in nature, that's what you need to be. You need to be as simple as possible.
That's amazing. And do you have any advice to just general people? So, any people, since we're nearing the end of the podcast,
General advice for
business
people,
owners or marketers, rather.
marketers. Um, wow, general advice. I would, I'd say just, man, try. So here's the thing. Everybody in my company knows that we treat marketing as a great big experiment. So my advice would be, go out there and experiment. When you find something that works, try to beat it. Something's not working, stop, do something else. It's the great big experiment, and it is constantly evolving. So keep trying different things.
And another question, last questions. How important is it to make sure that your customers know who you are before you even talk to them?
I think it's very important. I think that in marketing business, people buy from people who they believe they can know, trust, and like. So if they have interacted with your brand and had positive interactions, see that content coming out of your brand is valuable, it meets with their needs, they're more likely to reach out and contact you. And then it becomes a sales process. Then it becomes a proposal, sales process. So, yeah.
And how do you see podcasting go into that? Especially because, it's more human. You don't actually edit it a lot.
So podcasting has blown up since COVID began in 2020. Has literally blown up to where your podcast, you have to be incredibly competitive field. You are an incredibly competitive field. You have to create some unique differentiation and get people to listen. I remember placing ads on podcasts 15 years ago because it was new, and we were able to niche the audience. It was for a beauty brand. They made shampoos and conditioners and the like. So podcasts are cool. It's a very crowded field right now.
And what if, a company, let's say a big company with 50 employees, 100 employees, just want to start a podcast so that they may be able to show who they are and not necessarily to, have an audience by doing a podcast?
Start it. Do it. Look, you're going to make mistakes in the first few. It's going to happen. No one starts off the get-go, makes a Rolls Royce. They make a lot of mistakes getting to that point, right? So just start it. Go through the process. Find your way. You can hire talent, maybe such as yourself, who helps them get their podcast rolling, avoid some of the mistakes. But do it. If you want to do it, do it. Try it. Commit to it. Commit to a schedule that you can then fulfill. I've seen so many creative endeavors start with the best of intentions and fail because they picked a schedule that they couldn't commit to. If you're doing a podcast, do one a month. My gosh, it takes, as you know, John, it takes a lot to plan and put together, right?
Yeah.
You got
Even if you just want to, hey, AI, make me a podcast script, it's not great, especially because it's a disservice to the guests that you have. You want to have the best questions.
Of course. So you're preparing, right? You're preparing, you're getting your tech together, you're getting the timing together, you're preparing beforehand. Like anything, any endeavor, creative endeavor, any marketing endeavor, it's another experiment, from, I don't know how many podcasts you've done, but each one gets a little better. You refine. You said, you know what? I need to do that next time. I need to do that next time. Because if you care about it, you will get better, and you will attract listeners if you have a good, solid, point of view. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And Mitch, thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us today. And to connect with Mitch, by the way, you can learn more about him in CGT Marketing LLC. If you want to go to his website, it's cgtmarketingllc.com. I'll have it here. You can also follow Mitch on LinkedIn to stay updated on his insights, and I do suggest you do, and contributions to the field of digital and traditional marketing. Thank you, Mitch, for joining us. Do you have any last message, maybe announcements that you want to make?
No announcements. I just want to thank you very much, John. It was very pleasurable, and I enjoyed it. You well done.
Thank you. And thank you once again for joining us, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the future.
Thanks.
That's all for today's episode of the New World Podcast. We have explored some fascinating topics with our amazing guests, shedding light on the upcoming new world. If you enjoyed today's episode and today's discussion and want to stay updated the future episodes, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the podcast. And if you found value on what we have discussed, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, or if you are interested in being a guest in the future, please feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn or email me at john.paul@aicinix.com and add New World Podcast, all capital, in the subject line so I can see it. I always love hearing from our listeners. And don't forget to check out our amazing guests. You can find more information about them via the contact details we provided earlier. Again, Thank you for tuning in on the New World Podcast. I know your time is very important and I try to always make the next episode better than the last. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep innovating. This is John Paul Flores signing off from the New World Podcast.